Minions: Rise of Groot. You already know what this movie's about, so let's just get into it. Hello everybody, this is Jeff. Thank you for watching Greenlight Total Entertainment. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And also follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And today's video is basically a review of Minions: The Rise of Groot. So let's just get into it. The movie was directed by Kyle Bala and is starring Steve Carell, Pierre Coffin, Tara Judd, Pete Hudson, Alan Arkin, and Michelle Yeoh. So the story is basically a prequel. It's basically when Groot has actually met the Minions. It's taking place when he's like 11 years old. And at the time, Groot was going around the city, causing all this trouble, his havoc, just trying to, get every notch he can get in his villain belt to hopefully become the best villain in the world one day. And when he meets the Minions are basically trying to find a new leader, a new boss that they can work with. And after several attempts of trying to convince him, they finally convince him to be his leader. And that's how their story starts. So Groot, growing up, he's a huge fan of this group called the Vicious Six. I guess it's kind of like the Sinister Six, but it's not. But he's a huge fan of this group. His favorite villain of all time is Wild Knuckles, who was played by Alan Arkin. And the character is basically the leader of the group. Wild Knuckles is planning a heist at this, I guess it's a cave or something, but he's trying to find a stone, and the stone has like magical powers for Chinese New Year, where it can awaken all these kind of animal spirits. And if you have this power, you're basically the most strongest person in the world if you have if you have the stone. So basically what he does, he plants a stone with the Vicious Six, and the Vicious Six actually betrays him after he gets the stone, steals it from him, and basically kick him off. And they actually thought he was dead, or they left him behind for a replacement. So they put out this ad, I guess, and Groot actually applied and got invited for an interview, even as an 11-year-old kid, which was kind of funny because they thought he was a little man. So unfortunately he got rejected by the Vicious Six because he's a kid. So he felt like the best way to prove to him to say, hey, I earned it, and I can earn this spot. Let me take the spot of my favorite villain. He actually steals the stone from them. And I won't go too much in spoilers because I know this movie just came out, so people still want to see it. I just want to give you like groundwork of how what this movie is basically about. So with this film, I gotta say, one thing: if you're not a Minions fan, you didn't like the previous films, you may not like it. But if you like those films, this film is gonna make you happy because it has all that slapstick comedy in it. And I gotta say that someone who really doesn't care about the Minions or anything of stuff. I haven't watched all the films. I watched a little bit of films here or there. My wife is a bigger fan of that than I am. However, the slapstick comedy, and I love stupid comedy. It was actually not bad. It doesn't get tired. It does entertain you. I can actually see some people complaining about the comedy is too much. It's dumb. It's crazy. It's just out of control. It doesn't make sense sometimes. There's some randomness, but sometimes comedy like that works, and this type of film it works with it because the type of characters that are in this film. So when you see the Minions doing stupid stuff, and they're doing like crazy skits and funny gags on each other and doing things throughout the film, you kind of like, okay, this is what the Minions are all about. And either, like I said before, if you like this kind of these films, it's not going to bother you. If you're someone who can get tired of slapstick comedy hitting you all over and over and over and over and over again, I can see someone getting tired of like, man, can they just stop with the jokes and focus on the story? But this is the Minions. They're not going to do that. It's all about having fun and having a good time. So for me, the comedy was very on par with what this product is. Like it makes sense when they're doing silly stuff, and it does kind of help move the story along a little bit. But you're basically there to be entertained, and that's what this movie's all about. So the story is basically very choppy. It's a very choppy story, which is kind of expect from a film like this. It's not really relying on a good story. It's basically, you're there to be entertained. It's the comedy. They rely on comedy more in a story, and that could be something that could be kind of eye-rolling at sometimes watching this film. But like I said before, if you're silly like me, you like silly comedy, it could keep you entertained for a while. And with these films, the story is not important. It's just the antics that the minions are doing, to themselves or to Gru or to other people that really makes people want to see these films, because they're talking in gibberish and hurting each other, doing the crazy stunts, just doing things that the minions have been doing in previous films. But I do gotta want to say one thing. One thing I didn't notice, and my wife pointed this out to me, and that's probably because she's a huge fan of these films, is that the gibberish of the minions this time really weren't just, usually previous films it was like when they say one sentence, it's in 3 languages. This one they were speaking, especially Kevin, he was speaking a lot of Spanish, and it was the whole entire sentence in Spanish. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they took that. So some minions, they spoke Italian the entire sentence, or French the entire sentence, but Kevin spoke a lot in this film. It was all in Spanish. He did sprinkle in some French and Italian sometimes, but just to see them taking that type of approach this time, we take that approach as always. They was speaking in gibberish. We had no idea what they're saying. You got to piece together the 3 languages together to actually understand what they were trying to say. Or if you don't know those languages, you're just like, they're funny. They're just making jokes. They're just talking in gibberish, and they kind of just explain what they're gonna do anyway after they talk. So that's kind of interesting that they took that route of having each minion just pick with one language and just go with it. So that was an interesting choice, but I thought it was cool. At least I kind of understood what they were talking about. Well, Kevin at least, because you're speaking Spanish, and I know a little bit of Spanish. My wife is feeling it. So like I said before, I really didn't realize that until she said something. I was like, yeah, you're right. Kevin was speaking in straight sentences in Spanish, but I thought it was kind of cool. And one thing I noticed too, they actually made some things that were kind of for adults too, just to keep our interest in this film as well. So if you're, you bring your kids or you're someone, you're an adult, you don't have to worry about them going too kiddie. There's some points in the film where it's like, oh my gosh, it's like real kiddie, but they do something real funny that adult will get. And I thought that was kind of smart on them, because you can lose adults real quick with all this crazy, with farts and just random comedy. There's just like what's going on? Like this is nuts right now. But they actually kept it to a point where they let the kids have fun, and then once in a while they'll do something. They're like, oh, okay, that's funny. I'm an adult. I get that joke. My kid doesn't, but hey, that's funny. So I thought that was actually smart on them. Honestly, I had a good time with this film. I think this film was good. I usually don't like animation. When I watch animation, I'm only watching it because my wife wants to see it. She loves animation, especially like the silly ones, or she loves seeing and Minions. She absolutely loves Minions and Despicableme. So when I do these reviews for animation films, it's not because I really want to see it. My wife wants to see it, so I'm going with her. But this is like one of the ones that I actually did enjoy a lot, only because it brings like stupid, dumb comedy, and they're doing things which is funny, and just to see them do things to each other, to other people, and also trying to gain Gru a trust of being liable henchmen is actually funny. And I thought this is probably one of the best, when it comes to this series, when it comes to just focusing on the minions. I thought the last film of the minions were not good at all, but I think this one made up for that other film. So if I had to grade this film, I would give it 1 green light, and the reasons why I would give it 1 green light is, one, I love the dynamic between Alan Arkin and Stephen Carell. I just love the dynamics between them two, as one old villain trying to teach the new villain how to become a great villain, hopefully one of the best in the world. I thought the dynamic between the two was great, and you often see why it's good to have 2 characters who are at the end of the spectrum and one at the beginning, actually come together and help each other out. And they did some things together I thought that was kind of cool, and I was like, good, I love the bonding between the two. And you see by the end of the film that the relationship's going to continue on, and you actually see why Gru becomes one of the best, or probably the best villain in the world, because he had one of the best villains ever at the time mentor him. So it was kind of cool to see that dynamic. If they make a film between those two, I'll be all that all day. I think that'd be a great film. Another thing I like about it is the slapstick comedy. Like I said before, I love that kind of comedy. I like stupid comedy sometimes, and I think this film has that. And I think that was kind of, you know, I think they went overboard with the last movie, and you know, it just kind of like tired me out. But this time, you know, it was at the point where I was like, okay, this is what the film's going to be. I'm starting to enjoy it. They're doing silly stuff now, and they're doing things that actually I think it's funny. So, you know, I thought that was a very good positive point of the comedy in this film. Like I said before, if you don't like these films, you're not gonna like the comedy, because it goes on and on and on and on, and you know, that's just how it is. But you like these films, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love Minions. You already know what you're getting, so you're gonna be pleased what you're getting in this film. Unfortunately, the story loses a lot of the point to where it could be a better film. You know, the story is a story. It's just not a really good story. It's not told in a good way where it's very compelling. You're basically on this ride with them, you know, to the point where they all get to the end of the story, and you're just having loads of fun with it. And the story is basically a victim of the movie. But I don't think that it's to the point where it actually hurts the film. I think it makes the film good as it is, because you know, they're relying on the comedy, and the comedy is good. So like I said, if you don't like you don't like these films, you're not gonna like it. If you do like these films, you don't care about storylines, you just want to laugh and have a good time. I completely recommend this movie for you. It's good for the kids. The kids in the audience were having loads of fun. You know, they're just laughing, you know, parents are laughing, everyone is having a good time. And that's what this film is all about. It's about having a good time together and watching a silly movie, and it works out fine. So that's how I feel about this movie, and that's why I give it a 1 green light. So that wraps it up. What do you guys think of the movie? Did you see Minions? The Rise or Gru? What was your thoughts? Did you think it was too much comedy? Do you like the story? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you for watching Green Light Entertainment. This is Jeff. I'll see you next video. Take care, and see you soon.